Welcome to Experience Growth. We're here to help you discover, define, and deliver your big ideas. Hey, this is Colin Tomlin, author of the Grow House series of books, publisher of EG Magazine, and the creator of the 21 Books Challenge. Now, if you're new to this channel or new to watching our videos, you may not be aware that we've started something called the 21 Books Challenge. So at the start of April, we started this quest, as it were, to do 21 books in 42 weeks or 10 months. So once every 2 weeks, we'll do a new book and we'll provide it to you in a way where you can read it, watch it, listen to it, digest it, discuss it, schedule it because it comes out every 2 weeks. And very, very importantly, execute by using our Your Action Steps guide. So that's what we're doing. And of course, we are now on book 3, which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So book 1 was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Book 2 was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And book 3 is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Now, while I was doing the reading and preparation, something caught my eye, and it was around habit 5, which is seek first to understand, then to be understood. And in the chapter, it talks about principles of empathic communication. And it kind of really dovetailed with something which Stephen talked about at the start of the book around the personality ethic versus the character ethic. And the premise of this is when he started studying success theory or personal growth theories from since 1766, he says, he went back and he did a study, and he said, up until about 150 years ago, the focus was always on the character ethic. So things like integrity, humility, fidelity, temperance, courage, justice, patience, industry, simplicity, modesty, and the golden rule. But recently, what's happened is we've been focusing in terms of personal growth and personal success on what he calls the personality ethic, which is all about how you're coming across, positive mental attitude, something that was actually a quote from Napoleon Hill, whatever the mind of man can conceive, believe it can achieve, your attitude determines your altitude and all that great stuff. And the whole distinction between the personality ethic and the character ethic kind of reminded me, or made me think rather, about empathic communication and emphatic communication. So, in habit 5, it talks about seek first to understand and then to be understood. And empathic communication is in line with that because it's about the principle of understanding first before we seek to be understood by the other person. Whereas emphatic communication is exactly the opposite. It's all about making sure that we're understood, making sure that we're coming across well, making sure that what we're saying makes sense to the other person, rather than first trying to understand that what they're saying we understand. And I thought this really is the most important thing about communication, and I call it this one thing. And this one thing is really what I call the communication square, where there are 4 things to do to ensure that we move from emphatic communication, i.e. being obsessed with how we're coming across, to empathic communication, i.e. being obsessed that we're really understanding where the other person is coming from. Let me explain. Very often when someone starts to speak, we are already formulating our responses to them in our minds. And what empathic communication suggests is this: do these 4 things. First of all, shut up. Stop talking, because you can't really hear someone until you stop talking. So shut up, stop talking, and just listen. The second thing is quieten down. So sometimes even when we're not talking, we're formulating a response in our head in response to what they're saying. And the next thing is about quietening down our minds to ensure that we're really, really not thinking about our response, but we're thinking about what they're saying. And then the third thing is to zero in. Very often, the words that someone uses is not really what they mean. So it's about zeroing in on their meaning, and if necessary, asking them, what do you mean when you say this? And then the fourth thing is reaching out. Communication is a two-way process, and every action, every word to that person has meaning, and sometimes it doesn't really betray what they're really feeling. So after zeroing in, you may get the understanding that there is something that they're really trying to say to you. And then the next stage is about reaching out, trying to see if there's anything you can do to help that person in terms of their communication. So that's the communication square, or what I call the one thing. And it's all about moving from emphatic communication, where you're obsessed with how you're coming across, to empathic communication, where you're really shutting up, quietening down, zeroing in, and reaching out in response to what that person is saying. And if you haven't realized by now, the word empathic derives from the word empathy, which is really a higher level or a deeper level of understanding. So, hey, I hope that made some sense to you. If you haven't done yet, please sign up to the 21 Books Challenge. The link is below. We really want to do three things. We want to help you to feel good, to think better, and be your absolute best this year and onwards. So click the link below, and hey, do us a favor. If you really like this content and if you want more like it, please do subscribe and share with people who you really believe can benefit from this. So take care, speak soon, have a great week.